In this video, we will be discussing adding tables to your post. In our post, we have a long list of letters in our table of contents. This long list of letters takes a considerable amount of space. One thing we could do to have this table of contents take less space is to put them in a column of 4. The only way we can do that with HTML is to put them in a table. So we will insert a table after contents but before our letters. To insert the table, we go to the table icon on the toolbar, click the down arrow, and you'll see we have a menu option to insert a table. When we put our mouse over that, it expands out and shows us the size of table we can create. We can create as much as a 10 by 10 table using this function. To determine the size, you just hover over the number of cells that you want. In this case here, we have 5 columns by 3 rows. You don't have to bother to count because on the bottom of our little pop-out, it tells us exactly how many we have. We want to have 4 columns, but a single row. Once we have selected the size table we wish to create, all we have to do is left-click. That inserts our table in our post. Now let's move the data to our table cells. We do this by cutting our letters from our table of contents and moving them to our table. Sometimes doing a lot of cutting will end up leaving some spaces in there. So what we can do is just delete them all. Notice we lost our formatting, so we'll go back up and change our letter to a heading 2, like our letter 2. So now we can see that our table of contents takes considerably less space. We can see what that looks like by hitting the preview button, which will pop us another tab and load our post as if we were looking at it like our user. And you can see that looks pretty good. So we close our tab, go back to our editing. Now there are other things we can do once the table is created. We can go back to the table icon on the toolbar, click on the down arrow, and we can see that we can delete the entire table. We can merge cells together. If we wanted to merge cells together, we would select them by left-clicking in the cell and dragging through to select the cells. We could then merge them, or we could split them if they were already merged. On a row, we can insert a row before or after. So let's say we want to insert a row above our letters. And we want to move the table of contents into that row. Clean up a little bit. So now we have contents in our table. Suppose that we wanted to center that. We would center it, but it only centered it in the cell that it was in. So we can highlight all the cells, select them, go to cells and merge table cells. And then we can merge them all to the length of the table. We center it. Now it's centered in the whole table. And we can see what that looks like by hitting our preview button. And that looks good. Close our preview. Go to our table cell. And if we wanted to delete the row, we would select delete row. It would delete the row that our cursor is in. You can select the table's whole row and you can cut it from the table. You can select it and copy it. You can paste that table row before the current table row or paste it after. With columns, we can insert before or after, or we can delete. You have to remember the way a table actually looks is very dependent on the theme that you are using. Sometimes you won't like what the theme does to the table, and some themes there is nothing you can do about it. So that is tables. Please join us for our next video where we discuss bulleted and numbered lists. Thank you.